to meet. Hijack, Season 2, Episode 8, Season Final E.
Finally,
believe that's how it's pronounced.
Is that a Freudian? Finally, it's over.
Final E.
Yeah, I think you're doing a Freudian thing.
I might be a little bit.
I think you're happy it's over.
I actually titled the last episode of our podcast, Are We Done Yet?
And now we are.
We are done. I was trying to think about this finale a lot because nothing happened.
Well, the train stopped and some people got off and some people got on and they went the other way.
Well, let's start with where credit is due. The shots in the train yard were very cool.
In the snow?
Yeah,
in the snow. It was very pretty.
The helicopters, like just the eeriness of it all was done very well. Like the atmosphere was set. Some of the shots in the prison were also pretty cool, like him talking on his phone. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean the scene was cool. The shots were cool. The shots were very cool. This felt like the end of a cop drama episode that had, they're like, oh, and we arrested him and we won. There wasn't like they did anything special to do it. Like there was no real trick kind of, except for that he got back on the train and he got it moving. And like, it just all felt like very anticlimactic. Like
extremely.
Especially, how did they find out that the guy was talking on his phone? They just did they just listened in.
Yeah, they turned the microphone on once.
Yeah, they didn't like trick him or do something cool or do some amazing police work. It was just, oh, we should probably listen to him while he's in his cell.
Yeah, that's the why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box?
Yeah.
Type of joke, but it's absolutely true. We find out who's behind the hijack.
Yep.
Which is the guy who we first guessed was behind the hijack when Hijack Season 2 was announced.
Yes.
So I think it was last week or maybe the week before. I was like, what do we gain from giving us this guessing game when the answer is the person we have guessed all along? Like you want to do a big reveal when it's not the person you guessed all along. If it is the person you've guessed all along, then let's do like a little bit of back and forth cat and mouse type of thing, even if they never interact, showing him, I don't know, seething. He's such a meanie head. I'm going to get him this time.
We definitely could have used more cat and mouse, especially because they revealed him in episode 7?
They revealed him
that's when he had his first phone call with him, or was it 8?
They revealed him as being in the season in 7 and confirmed that he's behind the whole thing in 8.
What the guy we knew? No, he was way earlier on. Him showing up, like they go and interview him in like episode 3 or maybe even 2. But what bothered me is that, since we knew it was him the whole time, like you said, we could have either done a cat and mouse thing where like they communicate in their like, I know who you are kind of way. I mean, the only person who didn't know is Idris Elba, who figured it out at the end of the whole thing. Which I thought that was actually kind of fun. Him just being like not in on it at all at the end. Like he honestly thought it was just to get that guy off. And I think it was the train conductor who kind of figured it out, was like, something's off about this. But what got me is that, like, if you're trying, at least divert it, like pull us off the scent. But all they kept doing was just giving us obvious puzzle pieces of the picture and just filling in the middle. It was like they were filling in a coloring book. They're like, fill in the bear. What color is the bear? It's still a bear.
I mean, maybe they really thought that we were going to assume Idris had broke bad. But to us, that it was pretty obvious in the very first ep that he was doing this against his will in some capacity. That capacity probably being threatened by the guy from, guess what, the last season.
As an executive producer of the show, how much do you think he was involved in this season?
I don't think a lot of people whose names are on the screen were that involved.
Do you think he was an executive producer of season 1? That's going to be too difficult to check.
I could see that.
Do you think they're going to do a season 3?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do think that.
I could get into it. Like I said, I'll still watch it. I'll give it a try. If 3 is what this one is, then I'm probably done.
I'm happy to start it, but if it is going the way this went, I'm gonna.
What are some other shows we've stopped?
Warrior Nun.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Famously,
which we will famously get back to one day.
What was the one that my wife likes? Sometimes they get on a
Oh
ship.
God, the Bone and Shadow, the shadowy bone. Oh, we're gonna get flamed for this one, but that was so
good.
bad.
That was not good, boys.
It was so bad, and it wasn't even like we knew it was bad before people were like, "Oh, this is bad." Like season 2, they're like, "This is bad," and I think we got to episode 6 of 8 or whatever, and was like, "This gun,
This is an absolute
gun solved problem."
Slodge.
I get why people like that. I guess that show. I think that might be it for some shows that we've just stopped.
Yeah, we're both pretty stubborn.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened this ep? The train pulls into the station. He's supposed to do the exchange at this point with the half of a train. The guy's kind of figuring out that this isn't his escape. He's like, what's next? Otto, while loading all the passengers off the train, kind of gives him the something's wrong. I got to get back on the train.
Right. Because Otto at this point is supposed to get off the train, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets back on.
He gets back on.
I think he's having a little bit of a change of conscience there. Didn't he do this for money?
I think he did. I think he was entrapped into doing it. I think he had gotten some money in a bad way or had gambled or something, and he was in a bad position. So it wasn't like a clean, like someone just offered him a check, but it was pretty close. Okay. I think it was offered him out of a difficult situation with money. But I think he didn't want to leave him. They'd been through this adventure together.
And what an adventure it has been.
And then he kind of helped him by operating the train, I guess.
Yeah, so the bomb is still on the train, and that's bad because the bomb could go off. But the only person
which was the whole point. The point was to blow the whole plot was to blow up the train with Idris and this other guy on it at the same time.
And the only person who can defuse the bomb is the trigger man.
Yep. Well, he's also the only one who can set it off.
So
they trick Trigger Man onto the train, and then
they launch the train, thinking that he will not blow up the train if he is on the train, for that would blow himself up.
Which it turns out is true.
And then they have a little fight.
They fight, and then they all get off the train, and then they blow up the train.
Yeah.
With nobody on it.
And
except for the guy who's handcuffed.
He tries to make an escape. He's not getting any help from our prison guy.
Yeah, that was a whole nother scene that was just like... It just all fizzled. It just every bit of what was supposed to be intense about the end of it just kind of fizzled. Like I remember the first season when they had their face off on the plane. I actually wasn't that thrilled with them adding that basically post credit scene, which is it's very typical to the action film when they play all the music, everybody's rescued, like we're all done it, and then there's one last kind of thing. And I actually wasn't a huge fan of that in the first season, but it wasn't this bad. But this one, it just felt like nothing was happening.
Nothing at all. He gets shot because he reaches in his pocket, presumably for his gun. And that's it. He's just dead.
Yeah, and I wasn't like the whole thing didn't feel like it was gonna... Like I didn't fear for anybody.
No.
There wasn't a whole lot of tension. We get a fun moment where Martha from Dark says... My shift just started.
That scene bothered me so much. She wants to stay and have more coffee and run the train around again. That seemed like an unnecessary
I still don't
She's so
know why they
committed to
left
her
her on the
job.
board the entire time.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And
It's
then
like if you're driving a bus and you're sitting over the shoulder of the person who's learning to drive the bus, and an emergency situation comes up, the first thing you do is be like, okay, out of the seat, I need to take over. This is not in the manual for beginners.
I probably wouldn't do that, but that's just because I don't really like driving large vehicles.
That's fair. But you're not a bus driver.
Correct.
Neither am I, though, so that's
Correct.
fair. But you get my point. You know what I'm saying here. When you are the manager and something big comes up, you step in. You don't shove the trainee out there on the meats and cheeses at Subway on the first lunch rush. You put him on bread.
Sure. At a
It's
Subway?
the simplest to do because you just
Yeah,
cut it.
you just
Now,
cut it.
granted,
That's sharp, though.
yeah, you can cut yourself, and I did.
I didn't like that scene. I didn't like that character beat. It rang very false to me. The other thing that I did not like was who's the chick was trained by Moroccan special forces, and they figure out that she is she's a agent of some sort.
Yeah, she used to work with the guy that is the British dude.
And how did they find out that she was a part
photo?
of this plot? She has a tattoo
Oh, that's right. She has
of the bar that they went
that
to.
he was
and
trying to
made
let
the
them onto.
plan in. Who?
And they showed that part where he drops that coaster, but they never kind of go back to that moment.
Who gets a tattoo of a bar they go to?
If it's a military bar, I guess.
That was
Actually,
absurd.
I know quite a few people have tattoos of bars they go to.
I thought that was bonkers.
Namely the Screwdriver, but
Which one's a screwdriver?
it's on 2nd Ave. It's the basement music bar.
Oh, we've been there before.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice place.
I know a lot of people with yonder tattoos. I guess my point is, none of the dots felt earned. Whenever they connected a dot, it's because they just told us the dot was there. Or it was so obvious. And then they still told us later again. They weren't just like, they're smart enough to figure it out. They were like, oh, let me spell it out for you. He is the bad guy.
There was nothing that necessitated an extra 6 hours of this. There was no character development. There was no twist. There was no interesting plot lines that you follow through and get all the clues. It was just a bunch of ham-fisted Deus Machina type of plot construction, and it should have been a movie.
Fair enough. Well, you listen to any new albums?
I've been listening to some 2026 stuff, yeah.
Okay. What do you got? Let's hear it.
I've been listening to new Danny Brown. I think that was actually
Okay.
2025. New Voxtrot,
Okay.
if you're into them. Sharp Pins,
Okay.
good album. I think that's actually late 2025 as well. Looking forward to popping on the new Rat Boys
All right.
album and the new Pornographers album.
Now, at this point, they're kind of the old pornographers, wouldn't you say?
Well, they're older now.
Yeah, but they're not like the new ones on the scene anymore.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah, but there's newer pornographers now.
Who's the newest pornographer?
I assume someone who just turned 18.
Well, that would track.
At least the newest legal pornographer.
All my friends are older.
Yeah, I have a few old friends of my own.
Yeah.
Well, let's watch some more TV. Let's talk about some more TV. It won't be Hijack anymore, though.
I'd love that.
Tweet.
Stay gold.
Stay gold, Pony Boy.